YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 107. Now, I apologize about the lateness of this review. I'm recording it at least a week late. Probably will upload a little bit later than that because this issue came out the same time as Once and Always, so obviously that took the priority for the coverage. Not to mention other news that broke. So for those that follow and watch these, first of all, I appreciate you, but also I'm sorry that this was so late. Probably going to be kind of close to when issue 108 comes out, but I wanted to talk about this one. That sentence got all jumbled up. But again, let's talk about it. That's why we're here. We're not here to talk about why this wasn't reviewed. Let's review it. So this issue follows up on the debut of Ranger Zed, which is a really cool twist. I really do like the suit. Again, part of me wishes the helmet was a little different because it made me realize how much Zed's face actually looks like a Ranger helmet, so it doesn't sometimes seem like a Ranger to me, but still very cool idea. Not a suit that I would not mind seeing in figure form. He does explain a little bit about the power, where I guess he put a device in Zordon's command center and was draining the power, which is a little bit confusing. I don't know how that works because, you know, the power comes from the Morphin grid. I don't know if he attached it to something that Zordon had that's connected to the grid. It felt like a little bit of a weird explanation, but regardless. So he's fighting against Grace and the others in the base with his Ranger suit, but then Mistress Vile shows up with the vessel, and we do find out the vessel's identity in this issue when he's in a fight with Zed, as he kind of knocks his, like, mask off or whatever, and it is indeed Zordon, and you're probably thinking, Dawson, how is this Zordon? He's in the tube at the command center. And what's my answer? I don't know. I didn't think this joke through. No, but obviously, I mean, that was a theory before. That it was Zordon, that it was his body, because as we know, Zordon's kind of like in a time warp. It's kind of like his spirit is separate from his body. So, you know, his physical body is still out there. It's kind of like the way they stole Picard's body in Season 3. I bring that up because you should watch Season 3 of Picard, because it was great. But regardless, so it's Zed's body, or Zordon's body, all these Z's, and it obviously is this empty vessel now, and it's interesting. I do like that. I'm mixed on it in the sense that it was a thing that was predicted a lot, and I'm like, yeah, that would be pretty cool. I really like that, but because, you know, it was kind of obvious and predicted, I was kind of hoping for a little bit of a twist, but I think that there might be more twists coming with this storyline and its involvement with Dark Spectre and all that. But still, it's a pretty cool idea, not to mention how cool the suit is. So it's kind of cool to have like Zordon's body in this cool badass villain suit. But that was one of the big reveals of this issue during that fight. There also is some time for some nice Ranger interactions, which again, something I appreciate about this is, even though I've pretty much enjoyed all the comic arcs as I've talked about before, I feel like in some of the, you know, bigger arcs, the little character moments have gotten lost, and this run has had some times where we've actually taken a minute to pause and have the characters talk to each other and have character moments, which is one of the things that drew me into the comics in the first place, as we have a nice scene between Trini and Zach where she's sort of, you know, questioning her decision to interrogate Alpha 1 in the way that they are, and, you know, her tactics as a leader. They address the relationship a little bit. And then we have a nice scene between Jason and Tommy because he's worried about his relationship with Kim. He feels that they're not communicating, literally, because they haven't talked to each other, because the villains are actually interrupting the communications. So it's creating this situation where everyone on Sanctuary is like, man, why haven't they come to pick us up yet? And everyone's on Earth like, wow, Kim's ghosting me. What a beef from Apartment 23. So that's kind of interesting, but I like that it actually creates these conflicts for both sides of the Rangers, and you see them addressing that. And I also like this, I like Tommy coming to Jason for advice. He's almost coming to him for advice too much, but I think it's a nice beat. And I also like that we're keeping up with Jason. I'm really curious where we're going to go with his character because, you know, in the show, often when a character leaves, it's because the actor's leaving. So after they leave the show, it's like they never existed. So it's kind of cool to see them, you know, actually keep up with the character, but I'm curious where we're going with him. I don't want to touch on him being a major part of the series right away again, because I think it's nice to have him as this sort of, you know, periphery character, but I'm definitely curious. Are we going to do Gold Ranger in a different way, or are we going to do something new? I don't know. But regardless, I like having him involved here, and I like the scene with him and Jason. Before I move on, though, I do want to just say, and I'm sorry I bring this up all the time, that people, for the people that follow these reviews, but I really want the Stone Canyon Trio to get moments. Like, Rocky had that nice little arc when he got the red armor. That was cool, I loved that. But, you know, when we come to these character moments, I'm like, this is nice. It reminds me of the original era of the comic when we fleshed out the original team of characters, but the Stone Canyon Trio has yet to get that treatment, and that frustrates me so much. And like this issue, we have these nice scenes, but it's only between the original Season 1 characters. Like, please, I want the fleshed out versions of the Season 2 characters. I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, but these moments remind me that we hardly get moments like this for the core trio. It's like all of the comic characters from the season 1 characters are far and away superior to the show ones because they're actual characters. But it's funny that the show characters feel like more fleshed out characters than the comic ones when it comes to the season 2 Rangers. The last talking point of the issue is, of course, we catch up with Matt again. And what's he up to? Well, I haven't had my muffin yet, Matt. Dude, Matt straight up sucks. So, yeah, they went evil Green Ranger again. I have extremely mixed thoughts on this. Like, there's some stuff I like about it, character-wise, and it's cool to see. And again, I like this run overall. I want to state that too, that I think this has been one of the strongest runs so far for the comic because I think Melissa's done a great job of actually taking advantage of all of the lore that's been built up so far. So I really have been enjoying it, and this issue is no exception. I had some mixed thoughts on some things, like I think Alpha 1's characterization in this is a little off, but this I think is the only thing that I really don't like so far, even if there's aspects I like about it, because I feel like doing evil Green Ranger again is just redundant for me. It's kind of like when Draken came back, I was like, please don't redeem Draken, because Tommy is the Draken redemption story. The whole point of Draken is to have the opposite of that, and I feel like having a new Green Ranger is this opportunity to do something just that, new. And I think that there was some missed opportunities with the character. I think going evil again is just so predictable and safe. And I think there was missed opportunities to do something with the Green Ranger that created a new but yet similar parallel. You know, because when he was first introduced, they drew parallels between his relationship with Grace in terms of her creating the Green Ranger and Rita and the original Green Ranger. And I think that was cool because they could have done something interesting there where they paralleled that and had some similarities but also made it different, because you had this missed opportunity with the storyline of the Green Ranger where you had a publicly out Ranger under the tutelage of Grace who was very different from Zordon, and they had an opportunity for a really interesting storyline about conflicting Ranger ideologies between the mmpr team and Zordon and Grace and the Green Ranger, and I think that could have led to some interesting conflicts that maybe would have put Green Ranger and Grace in a position where they were taking tactics that could have made them seem like they were in the wrong. And then you can sort of have that parallel where they're a little bit of an antagonist but not full on evil, and then you're doing a parallel where it's something different instead of just under a spell again. And again, I think that it's nice we're doing stuff with Matt now, but I think the Green Ranger so far has been such a missed opportunity, and going this way for me is boring. With that being said, there is some interesting aspects about it, just in the sense that Matt's whole story about kind of being left behind and feeling like an afterthought to the team does play in nicely to his evil turn. I think he is under a spell. I don't think he, he was tortured and snapped or something, or both. But I do think that is something to give some credit that differentiates it from Tommy Green Ranger, where Tommy Green Ranger was mostly just, I'm under an evil spell, muhahaha. But this at least gives some characterization to the turn, where it's like, screw you guys, you left me behind, now you're never going to get your muffins. So I'll admit, there's some interesting aspects to it. I just think it's the boring way to go, and I think there was much more new territory to break with this new Green Ranger, which is one of the most new elements in this universe. Anyway, last part of the issue teases up not only probably something that's going to happen in this, but as well as a new comic that's coming out surrounding Draken and the Coinless World, which is, it teases the return of Draken and Kia, who was Kia, who was the evil Blue Omega, which I'm pretty excited about that comic and this story. You know, Draken's a little overused, but he's always interesting to watch, but I'm more so excited about the return of the Coinless World because we left them in an interesting place, and Kia is also one of my favorite comic characters, so I'm excited to get back to her. But overall, guys, this was still an enjoyable issue. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm just definitely have some mixed thoughts about some of the stuff going on with the Green Ranger, and a little bit mixed thoughts on the weird explanation behind Zed, but still a fun issue. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. What did you guys think of the issue? What do you think of the evil Green Ranger? Do you wish they had gone in a different direction? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for all my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.